Hey, this is Troy Taylor with the Championship Football Coaches Clinic Podcast, sponsored by Reps Virtual Reality, First Down Playbook, Rack Coach, The Top Hopper, Sideline Design, Sports Workbook, and Tip of the Spear. Tonight we have on Coach Jay Weakland from Sioux City East, and we're so happy to have Coach on. He's going to talk about zone and gap scheme, run games, from an offensive line coach perspective. So, Coach, thanks for coming on tonight, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So, do you want the history piece, or do you want to just dive right in?
Give me some history. Let me get to know you a little bit better, Coach.
Okay. So I'm originally from Gresham, Oregon. Played at Gresham High School. I'm a '93 grad. From there, I went down and played at the College of Siskiyous in Northern California for Dennis Roberts, and Tim Frisbee was my O-line coach. And then from there, growing up in Gresham, which is a suburb of Portland, I watched a lot of Portland State football growing up. So
Mouse Davis?
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Nope. I was young, but it was there. June Jones.
Man.
So I watched all that stuff growing up. So when I was getting recruited at JUCO, I was very familiar with the old North Central, which was North Dakota State, North Dakota, Augie, South Dakota State, South Dakota St. Cloud, all those schools, Morningside. So when Morningside came calling, I saw they were in the North Central, I jumped all over that. So I came out to Sioux City, Iowa, spent 2 years here as a transfer, thinking that I would play for 2 years and go home. And I kind of never went home. So I got the coaching bug and got into that. And then I was a GA, and then was at Buena Vista, which is about 77 miles east of here. And then went into the high school ranks, got back into the college level for a while. I was at Morningside 17 through 19. I was very fortunate to be with those guys, Coach Steve Ryan, Dan Kelly, their line coach, helped out as a tight ends and tackles coach. And we were back-to-back national champions, which was sweet.
In NAIA?
NAI.
That's right. I played in NAIA at Clinch Valley College in Virginia. And we had on Bob Green, Coach, on the podcast, and he's a legend in NAIA.
It's good football.
Yes, sir. And so, Coach, if you pull up your huddle, then I'll hit it. All right, I'm going to add it, Coach. And we got 11 people in here watching right now, so that's pretty cool. If you have any questions, put it in the comments, and I'll let Coach answer it. But everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. All right, Coach,
awesome.
We're ready if you are.
Perfect. So the first thing I do, I just got when I was coaching Morningside 17 through 19, this is a sled that we're pushing around. You can see it's a little beat up. That thing's been with me from 2010 through the current season. Matter of fact, now it's we're supposed to be getting a new bag for it, but every day we do some form of drill work on this thing, and whether it's 2 steps right in front of it, we do a right, left, and then punch, or we'll back up 5 yards. We're hitting this sled every day and working kind of our center of cylinder aiming points, and I'll talk about what all those pieces are. So, but that sled, they've got the line's got a name for it, but that thing's been around. So I like to always kind of show that. So the more footwork we can do and timing up that foot, you'll notice right before he strikes with his hands, he gets a little bit of width and depth with that right foot. And if we were timing it up with the left, then it would be the left one. But you can see it kind of drop, pop, and climb. So anyway, we're going to talk about inside zone. I'll start with some practice film first and just kind of go through. I've got it cut up by defensive fronts, 4-2, 3-3 stack, 4-1, 3-1. And so a couple things when we're talking inside zone, I'm just going to show our inside practice film. This is what I do with our players as kind of an install. So we've got zone left. I'll talk about some things in here with the arrows, but first thing we talk about with our guys is we're going to define our inside zone. We always talk covered, uncovered. So we're covered or we're uncovered, and we're always stepping in the direction of the play. So if we're inside zone left, we're all going to be stepping with our left foot. If we're inside zone right, then we'd be stepping with our right foot. So we're not a double team inside zone, although I'll show you some things that we can do to kind of help with that. But we're a true rail zone. And at the high school level and even at the college level, when I helped coach there at Morningside, I'm a big believer that less is more. I used to be when I was young, when you're learning, it was the eats and the cogs and the gates and the cages, and you have all of this terminology to talk about where your doubles are and who you're working towards. And then the defense moves, and then my guys kind of got paralyzed a little bit. So through the years, I think next season is going to be 28 for me from a coaching season standpoint. I coached 3 years prior to that while I was playing at summer camps at Siskiyous, but coming up on season 28 for me, I've learned kind of the KISS philosophy, which is keep it simple. So we'll kind of just dive in here. But first thing we want to define is covered, and I always start play side. So if we're going zone left, then the first thing we do is we start with our tackle. So we're going zone left. I ask him, hey, you covered or uncovered? And here we're going to define what that means. So to be covered means that there is somebody either head up to the backside eye of the guy next to me. So in this case, the tackle doesn't have anybody next to him, but there is somebody that is either head up or outside him, play side in his gap. In this case, it's the C gap. He has C gap to the left inside zone. If there's somebody in there, he's covered. Okay, then we go to the guard. We ask the guard, hey, is there anybody head up to the inside eye of the man next to you? If there is, you're covered. And we go to our center and we say, is there anybody head up to the inside play side, right? Inside eye of the man next to you here. There's nobody there. He is uncovered. Okay. So the first time we get an uncovered guy, if you're uncovered, you go with. And I repeat these sayings. This is the O-line language. We just keep throwing it at them, saying it over and over again until they get the speech. Hey, covered, uncovered. Coach, I'm covered. Okay. Next guy, I'm uncovered. What do? I go with. And that verbal communication should be like that every time. Okay. So then I go to my backside guard. Is there somebody head up to the play side eye of the man next to you? Well, there's somebody head up. We treat a head up. Okay. We treat a head up the same as a play side shade. Okay. So we may attack that a little bit different, but we treat a head up like a play side shade. So in this case, he is covered, and then we're going to say that this guy's on the backside eye. So anyone head up to inside eye? No, then you're uncovered. Okay. So when we start these conversations, covered, uncovered, go with. Okay. The first combo always works to the number one backer, the play side inside linebacker, the number one inside the box. Okay. The first combo always works to one. Okay. Second guy back here, covered, uncovered, go with. The second combo always works to the number two backer in the inside. Okay. So in a 6-man box, we'll start with a 4-2. The 6-man box, we got covered, we're single. Covered, uncovered, go with, work to number one. Covered, uncovered, go with, work to number two. We are a read team, so we will zone read. Our quarterback will read the end man or the C-gap player outside the tackle. We can put a tight end here, and you'll see some film. We'll arc and do some things. If we get an overhang, we will do some things formation-wise also to deal with that. But right now we're just talking O-line and inside zone. Okay, so right away, okay, we go covered, uncovered. So we know where our combos are. Okay, covered, uncovered, covered, uncovered. We're here, we're working there, we're working here. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about is our angle of departure. Okay, and so a little bit of the history lesson without diving into it too long is when I first started learning O-line, our aiming point was the play side number. Then I've coached where it was like the play side pit and inside zone. And what I found was we'd reach guys front side, and then we were losing guys behind us. And I just didn't like how that timed up. And that went on for a few years, coaching O-line and trying to figure it out. I tried to kick it on the front side. I tried to outside zone, cut it off on the back side and create this wall. I just didn't like how it timed up. And then I put in a Cool Clinic DVD of Coach Howard Mudd and McNally. But Coach Mudd talked about center of cylinder. Okay. And so if you can find it on the internet, you can just type in Howard Mudd, 1997, inside zone, Cool Clinic. You can watch the whole thing. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And it's still good.
It's still, in my opinion, it's still good.
Yeah. Russ Grimm's talk is still good from that same time period. You know,
absolutely.
It's like it still works. Look at that, Coach. I got the Cool Clinic shirt back there, man.
I saw that when I was watching some, you know, and I grabbed it. I was going to wear it today.
Wow, you got one?
I do.
Great, man.
So when I started coaching camps, my O-line coach in college at Siskiyous would get the Cool Clinic VHS cassettes. And so when the camp got done and I was a counselor, so kids would go to bed, the teams would come in, I'd sneak back in there in the office and I would just watch these Cool Clinic cassettes, VHS cassettes in the early 90s up until current. So I cut my teeth on that.
The goats, man.
It's good stuff. And so, you know, every year I go to clinics all the time and I listen to people all the time. And the first thing I try to do is debunk what I'm doing. Meaning, you know, is my stuff still good? Am I stuck where I'm at? I'm always trying to learn. Okay, guys do this for this reason. And then I start to see why I do what I do. So, or why I kind of stole what I stole, which is in Coach Mudd, our angle of departure, and McNally's talked on this a little bit as well at some of the clinics he's been at.
They don't believe in lead stepping. They
don't. And so, you know, if I were to, and I could do it if you wanted to, I can call one of my guys on my cell phone right now and I'll say, tell me about our first step. And this is true in our gap scheme. You'll see it there, but you'll also see it in zone. Tell me about our first step. Why do we, you know, coaches call it a bucket step. I call it an angle of departure. But why do we take the first step that we take? And you're going to hear our guys repeat, to let the defense declare. And so if you're stepping at people and people move, it makes it hard. I'll tell a quick story later when we get into the gap of how I went from a man guy to kind of a true gap guy with the same footwork. But this angle of departure, this
I mean, if you're a man guy and they start twisting, I mean, don't you have to be a zone guy? Or if they start gap exchanging,
it makes it hard. And so I can either tell that story later or I can tell it now, but I'll tell it now.
I guess it eventually all becomes man, doesn't it? I mean, you eventually have to block a man. You
have to block a man. And the way we coach this is we have an area. So our covered guy has this area. He has anything that shows up in the C gap. This covered guy has anything that shows up in the B gap. This uncovered guy, even though he's going with and he's working with the guard to his down guy to number 1, he's going to pick up anything that shows up in the front side A. My backside guard has anything that shows up in the backside A. And my backside tackle has anything that shows up in the backside B. And at the end of this, there's some we played a radar. We played the Ankeny team. They won a state title or two. They were in the state championship this last year and lost to Southeast Polk. Southeast Polk won their third. But they kind of played like a radar loose, moving around. And there were some coaches that were nervous. And I said, we'll be fine, just because of how we coach it, which is all my guys could close their eyes. They're going to take a step. And when they open their eyes, whatever's in that gap, they're going to block. And we've got some things to pass and to hand off to some things, and we'll talk about that. But our first step is predicated on if we were to draw a circle around the guy and say center of cylinder, we're going to put, I've taken Mud's thing of center of cylinder. He says, take a meat cleaver and you're going to just chop them directly in half. Okay. And that center of cylinder could change depending on the width of the guy, right? So let me undo this here. So if this guy, let's ignore him and let's say he's lined up here. Well, there's my center of cylinder. If he's here, there's my center of cylinder. So that center of cylinder changes with the width of the defender that I'm blocking. So what we tell our guys is the wider the guy, the deeper the drop, which is, you start getting the coaches say, well, you lose ground to gain ground. We really don't. What we're doing is we're taking that departure step to open this play side hip. We bring our head with us, and we're going to put our chin and our belt buckle right down the center of that cylinder. That's our aiming point.
And so your feet are moving back, but your center of gravity is staying the same.
Correct. And all I'm really doing, so as I press play here, all you're really doing, now you're noticing here, you're seeing this guy pivot a little bit, right? And so we'll show what's good and what's bad. And so I laugh here. This is my son over here at the right guard. So he didn't have any choices but to do this a little bit. But he takes a step, but you notice he's not losing any ground. He's actually, if you look at his shoulders, he's actually moving. He's just, instead of having a line of scrimmage here and running vertical, we've changed the line of scrimmage for him because of his angle of departures here, and he's just moving that way. So it's really I'm going to open my hip. And you can see this guy's a sophomore for me starting this year. And all of this film, by the way, starts at the beginning of the season. And as I go through it, it works to the end. So as you watch this is going to be a little shady at the beginning. New to me, right? He was a freshman last year. He's now a sophomore. By the end of the clips and the game film, you'll see that he's a lot better as he's gone on. Same with this kid. This kid's a senior. So I got a senior, going to be a 3-year starter, junior, first-year starter, junior, second-year starting, but I moved him from guard, first-year starting due to some injuries, first-year starting as a sophomore. So as we take our steps, right, we're going to set our angle of departure, center of cylinder, and we're going to play long with our backside arm. Okay, we don't have to necessarily put the front side hand in, and I'll show film on how all that stuff fits. Okay, so we're going to take our angle of departure step. That's going to set us up. The wider the guy, the deeper the drop, meaning the wider the guy, the more width and depth I want to get with that spot to open my hip, to bring my head, to set that angle of departure flatter, if that makes sense. Okay, and then same thing with all these guys. So my uncovered center, his center of cylinder is clear here, right? Is way flatter than my guard, okay? And the reason why is he's got to take a step to protect himself from that type of movement, okay? If we get any type of pinching or stunting. So right here, you're going to watch this tackle. He takes a step. The guy moves. He tries to rock it or tries to bump it back in, and then we end up getting a non-gap sound defense, right? We got 2 guys in a gap. So we'll talk about what all this looks like. But this is our first clip of inside zone in the fall, okay? So, again, covered. We're going to work here. Uncovered. The center is going to work with the play side guard. They're going to work to number 1. You can see kind of doesn't know what to do. He's looking. He's creeping, okay? And then my backside guy, he thinks he's head up. Maybe he's not head up. He takes a step. He's not sure, so we'll rock this. Okay, he knows that he's the second uncovered. He's working to 2. He's going to take a step and try to help that backside tackle, and they're going to push and work that right to the backer. And I'll slow this down at some point and talk about this, but I'll just start clipping through the clips. Okay, so right here, we've got zone right, aiming point, and play long. So at the beginning of this thing, right, we've got covered, uncovered, go with. These 2 are going to work the down guy to the number 1. Covered, uncovered, go with. These 2 are going to work to the second combo. First combo works to 1. Second combo works to 2. Now the defense moves. So now we get covered, uncovered, covered, uncovered. That's why I don't get into the whole man thing. We're going to block a rail. We're rail zone. Mm-hmm. We're going to block an area. So the defense can move around all they want. doesn't affect us. Okay. So let me get rid of this here. Okay. So angle of departure, you see my young guy kind of hops, right? So his momentum is moving this way versus this way. That open step, second step down the rail should be moving his momentum and his energy this way. And what he's done is he's tried to position. So he's hopped. Defensive guy's able to get into him and just move him. So we'll show film of how that changes. Okay, here's a right guard. Okay, same thing. He takes a step, and then his feet kind of come together. He gets tall. We want to play with a wide base. And I'll point all that out as we go through the film. Okay, my uncovered guy, he's going with. He knows he's working to one. So we talk about, where's your backer? If I'm the uncovered guy, okay, if I'm the uncovered guy and I'm going with, where's my backer? Is he front side? If he's front side, I got lots of leverage. I got all the time in the world. He's in front of me. I can see him. I can help with the down guy. It's visible. The more he gets stacked on top of me, the less I can mess with this down guy, because if I keep chasing this, and I'll show you examples, if I keep chasing this, I screw up my leverage with this linebacker who can then shoot back door on me. Okay, so we talk about covered, uncovered. We talk about playing with leverage. We want those guys to stay in front of us if we can. Now, our back's job is to help that. He aims for the front side A gap. His job is to help pull these linebackers down and help them fit into our blocking. Okay, so you watch our center. He's uncovered. That's a pretty good first step. See his angle of departure? He's set up. If this guy were to stun inside, he's in a perfect position to block him. Okay, and we want to keep it front side. We want to play long. If he's in our B gap, we want to keep him in our B gap. We don't want to swing our hips and turn and try to position block. We're going to block him on the angle that we find him. So right there, you see the two steps of my guard. 1, 2. That's the angle he found him. He's center of cylinder. In a perfect world in the video, if he's doing what he's supposed to, that guy should go there. Now, if he's better than us, it might start doing this. And if he's really good, hopefully it does that. There's some times where you'll see it do this. But we're going to cover people up. We don't have a lot of negative yard running. We don't have a lot of minus gains in our inside zone. You'll see 1 or 2 behind the line of scrimmage. Worst case scenario, it's a 1 or 2 yard gain. But we average over 4 yards a carry on this play. So some years it gets as high as 6.5. So it's a good play for us. But center of cylinder. Okay, so we take our steps. There's our angle of departure. You're looking at that center's right step. First step, second step, he goes down the line. Now, the first thing he's going to look at, and I say hip, hip, rib, shoulder, but my verbiage is, what did the hip do? Does the hip go away? Does it stay? Or does it come to you? Okay. So if the hip goes away, it's easy. And he gets 1 step to look at that, because the more he keeps walking into this, the more he has leverage issues and troubles with the linebacker. Now, he can keep walking into it because the leverage for his linebacker is in front of him. And I'll show you some video in here where if he's behind us or on top of us, we have to move quicker. Okay, so he takes a step. What do I see? Hip away. Okay, so now we've talked about total concept here. Covered, uncovered, go with, work to number 1, first combo, covered, uncovered. Second combo works to 2. Okay, now we're going to talk about individual combos. So this could be a tackle, guard. This could be tight end, tackle, guard, center backside guard. It could be any 2. So if you ignore all this and all this, when I do my drills, I stand right here. Actually, I stand right here. And we do 2-man combo this way, and I got another guy's going 2-man combo that way. And I live in the DVD world a little bit as an older guy, so I wasn't able to upload my drills and stuff on here. I wanted to show that, but it'd be the same thing here. We're doing 2-man combo. He steps. We do our combos in practice. The first thing I tell him is hip away, so there's no surprises. Then the next time they come through, we do hip 2, and I'll show you what that looks like in the film. And then the third time I let the D-line choose, and the linebacker makes him right. But here we're going.
Everybody always
covered, uncovered.
Yeah, everybody always wants to know, well, Coach, what drills?
What's that?
Everybody always wants to know, Coach, what drills do you do? Well, your drills are the game, like that's
absolutely. Absolutely.
Whatever your players do, That's the drill.
Absolutely. I'm going to steal another Muddism. He always says, I pee in the same spot, meaning he's habitual, right?
Yeah.
He goes, if you hear him in clinics, if you heard him in clinics, I piss in the same spot. And I always joked when I talked with him, I used the same urinal in high school for 4 years. I mean, that's how habitual I am.
Creatures of habit, man.
Absolutely. And so if we're out on the practice field, ignore this. I'm standing right here.
Yes.
And I have line after line, lineman here. And then I've got this guy here. So I've got another O lineman and another O lineman with an outside shade. And then there's the linebacker right there. Okay. So I always start to my right. Okay. Set hut. And you go from the covered guy to the down guy to the backer. Then you go around the drill and you come over here, and here's a line of linemen. And so you work this way. These guys work this way, however fast we go through. So I'll turn and I'll say, set hit. This is what I see. I'm like, good job. I'll make a coaching point. I turn my head to the left. The other guys better be down, right? I'm not waiting around. Set hit. And it goes just about that fast. Set hit. I watch it. Coaching point. I'll turn right. Set hit. And we're moving that quick. And then when we rotate through, then the next time they come up, this guy's going to come inside. So we work on punch and pass and climb. I'll show that through the film. And then the third trip through, if this guy's going to his right, they always tell me when they're back up, Coach, we're back at the top. All right, we're going in. Coach, we're back at the top. All right, head up. Now the D lineman can go right or left. And so that I do that drill every day for 5 minutes. We move that quick through it that it just takes us 5 minutes. Beginning of the year, it might take us 10, but it takes 5 minutes. So combo drill, right? So you're seeing our combo drill. Here it is in practice, and you'll see it on film. Okay, so we get a good push by the covered guy. Uncovered guy's his wingman. You'll notice he puts his hand on his kidney. One little step, he checks it. Boom, he gets his fit, and we're building a wall. Okay, let's look at the backside combo. Okay, guard kind of does a hop. He's new to me. You'll see by the end of the year, he was really good at what he did. He became kind of a technician. But he kind of hops. His aiming point is way over the top. He's way in front. He's on the front side of the block. So he's got to turn and kind of square his hips up to try to recover. The uncovered guy sees that the hip didn't come to him, so he's starting to climb and work. So you can see where if it's a perfect world, right? If this is the door frame and this is the door handle, we're going to open that thing up this way. We're going to kick it. We're going to push our gaps. We're going to read the end man, or we'll use a tight end to cut that off, and our back will read the first thing past the center play side, same as everybody else in inside zone. But really, he's just feeling it. And as we kick it, he's going to get vertical and bounce, or he's going to get vertical and cut behind. We don't want a lot of this stuff. We don't want a lot of that stuff. We want to get to the heels of the O-line. We get one move, and we got to puncture it. We're either going to take it front side or take it backside and get as vertical as quickly as possible. So right here, he gets a little bit too sideways, the tailback does, takes it too far forward, but he cuts, jumps behind it. But you can see that wall, right? Kicking, covered. Quarterback's done his job of taking care of the sixth guy. Our back has a two-way go. And so when you're looking at film, people say, well, your guy cut back. Yeah, if he's a little more square with his shoulders and presses it more here earlier, you can see where the lane is. It's right there. So then he can make his decision of running or at some point going behind the backside tackle. Okay.
And Chance has a question, Coach.
Yes, absolutely.
Are you reading the backside? Okay, right on.
Yes. We are going to read the backside always, unless we put a tight end back here. And then we have two choices with that. We're going to either tight end arc for the old squeeze scrape and still read it, or we're just going to hand it off and have the tight end cut that guy off. We give a signal to tell the difference between the two. Our linemen don't really know, nor do they care. They're still blocking the same 5 guys. And when we have the tight end, we're assuming it's always arc unless we call cutoff, but it doesn't affect our combo backside. You'll notice our tackle If that guy's tight, see how he kind of rocks in? We call it rocking back. I'll show some film on that. But his job's just to make sure this guy doesn't squeeze him or come flying down in here so flat that squeeze scrape gets us in trouble. So he's just keeping his body presence. His first step, peek it. What did I see?
Yeah, PJ Studio wants to know, when the D-line shifts pre-snap, what communication occurs between uncovered and covered offensive linemen? Thanks. I think he might have just joined us, Coach.
No worries.
But that's a great question.
None. Yeah, it is a great question. And so none. Like this guy's not going, hey, man. Like right now, I see his helmet. He's looking. He's over here going, okay, I'm uncovered. Watch his head pre-snap. Rotates, right? I'm uncovered and going with. All of a sudden, that guy moves. Now, we rep it so much that we don't need to have that conversation. Early, like, oh, hey, I thought I was with this guy. No, you have an area. You do not
Coach,
have a guy.
mention that thing you said earlier about the guys taking a step and then opening their eyes. That was I love that.
Absolutely. I joke with our guys all the time that the only thing that they need to know at their first step is where's the defender, because that dictates how much width and depth they get to open that hip to set their angle of departure. But they can take a step and they can close their eyes. And when they open it, if there's a dude there, they're going to block it. And if there's not, they can continue on their rail to where they're going. But yeah, when this guy shifts, we don't have any issues with it. Now, I will say that this takes reps. I coached our DC that was here and then went on to Sergeant Bluff for a while, and he coached at the college level. He used to sit in on my meetings. Do you care if I sit in with your own line meetings? I said, no, go ahead. And then afterwards, I said, what do you think? He goes, you got an answer for everything without changing everything. And so I've got some things that we can do, but this just comes down to reps. So when the guy moves, we're not making a call. Hey, I had a tag and now I got a cog. We don't do any of that. Just because we don't want to be thinking. We're no huddle. We do move fast. We throw the quick game. We throw the heck out of the ball out here to thin this box so that we can run the ball. Okay, so we're doing everything quick. So lots of reps. Okay, we rep the heck out of it. So
Bob Wiley said when we had him on the podcast, when the original Mushroom Society members, he said they did research in the NFL, and when all 5 of those guys are doing the same thing every play, they don't get many TFLs, so it's just like
correct.
Your guys are always doing the same thing. That's the reason you don't have a lot of TFLs.
Correct.
So, I mean, there's something to it.
I'm gonna minimize this for a second. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna turn my computer and Can you see? There it is, right there, right there. That is from Sports Illustrated from like 2001. That is Army. All 5 of those guys, 7 with the tight end, all of their footwork is the same. All their steps are the same. You can see the backside DN peeking across there from Navy. And I saw that. I laminated that. And that has been with me for the past 22 years.
Wow.
That always hangs up in my office. And so that's what's that?
Yeah. Bob Wiley, he called it unconscious competence. Unconscious competence. That you know something so
Correct.
well that you can do it unconsciously.
Correct. And that's the goal. It's reps. Let's go back to here, covered, uncovered. We rep this. That's why, our first game this year, we struggled a little bit. I had a lot of guys with not a lot of reps. And so as the season went on, people were like, oh, your linemen are getting better. They should. Every week they should get better. And so the more playing experience, this kid right here is going to Wayne State, the Division II school. He could probably play some D1 AA at guard. But he is a 3-year starter for me. And here's a perfect example. Okay, so we're going to go pre-snap, covered, uncovered, go with to number 1, covered, uncovered, go with. Number 2 is clear back here. We got leverage issues. So if he's going to chase this down here, this guy can shoot this gap. Okay, so we've got some leverage issues. So that means that when he takes his one-step check, he's got to peek it, right? He's got to peek it, and then he's got to figure out how he's going to stay in here and let this guy try to fit without letting him backdoor him. Now, this kid here, 2 years with me. I didn't know if he'd be a starter. He did one of those things where he jumped in, he took advantage of his opportunity, and he never gave it back. He's going to be a heck of a player next year for us as a senior. He's so quick with his head. He peeks it. He sees that the hip doesn't come to him. He rocks back into it. When I say rock back, okay, so it's a technique that we use to help a guy behind us. If he's a shade on me and this guy's got to come a long way to get there, we're going to help him a little bit so this dude just can't shoot the gap right there, or that we got to get so flat and run with the guy. It's a way to kind of help our guy behind us if nothing shows up in our uncovered gap immediately. So pre-snap, he knows his guy's clear back here. There's no blitz. He's not showing any blitz. This guy's wide on the center. Pre-snap, he takes a step. He peeks it. He takes the next step into the guy with his shoulder, and all he's going to do is just put his shoulder under that guy's shoulder, and he's going to bang him, okay? And he's going to bang him to help this guy push, and he's going to wait for this to happen. Now, as you get into veteran moves, our tackle knows, hey, I'm a big boy. If I can knock this guy into that gap, then I can pick this guy up and it can help me. So these are things that when you say unconscious reps, he's looking, bam, he just knocks it into the A gap for the guard and goes right back up and picks up the linebacker. All they did was switch dudes. Now, it looks like it cut back, but did it? Here, I'll use this coach, and this is our OC in the orange shirt. He's standing right over the center, okay? So our guys do a good job of pushing it, and our running back's aiming point is the front side A gap, which is right here. It looks like it cuts back, but did it? He's in the front side A gap. Okay, so our guys did a good job of Howard Muddism's center of cylinder, McNallyisms, playing long with my backside arm.
Playing long.
Playing
Coach
long.
McNally would be happy, Coach.
Oh, dude.
He would be happy.
I'm sitting in a clinic. Anytime Coach McNally talks, I joke that I'm his private stalker. I sit in the front row. And so I've gotten to know him pretty good through the years a little bit. And anyway, I was sitting in a clinic in 2016, and he used the phrase playing long. I used to say spill when I give the speech, spill, dump, tip, knock over. He said playing long. I instantly wrote it down. I still got it in my notebook. Him and I, when I talk on social media with him, I go right to playing long. So that phrase playing long, as soon as he said it, it made total sense to me. So
Coach,
right here.
Did you know how
playing long?
Did you know how Jim McNally got on Twitter? Were you?
All I know is that he just one day just showed up.
Yeah, I'm the guy, Coach. I got him on Twitter. It took me
awesome.
an hour to change his name from Jim McNally 57324 with 2 followers and 2 pictures in his bio. It took me an hour. And I told his wife, I said,
that's
anybody
awesome.
can coach Anthony Munoz. I was like, but to get him to do that, that's coaching. Yeah, Coach. It changed the world, didn't it? I mean,
it did. And he's amazing. He loves to talk football. He loves to share. I grew up. He had a O-line coaches for the mat and I'll throw that up on Twitter for you. I'll share it to Twitter. But it was a DVD thing in the early '90s, late '80s with Munoz, where he's going through and my O-line coach at Morningside before I got here that recruited me sent me these VHS cassettes, and I would fall asleep to them. And it was just like this. He's talking about footwork, and he's got a teleprompter, and he's talking, and it was like, pardon my French, but it was like football porn for me. Like it was.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? And I fell asleep to that every night. And so when he showed up on Facebook, right away it was cool because he was talking about the Cool Clinic, and I got to go to the Cool Clinic and be kind of one of about 25 guys, be a special guest with him in 2017. And then it became a yearly deal. And then, of course, COVID hit, and it never went back to face-to-face. And I keep begging for it to go face-to-face.
Well, Coach,
online, it's great. But.
Well, we were going to do one in Richmond, but now it's going to be in Charlotte, and Coach McNally's going to be there. It's going to be Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's through the playbookclinics.com. And Coach Mirabal is going to be there from Miami.
Gotcha.
Bill Best is going to be there. So
nice.
Yeah, Coach, it's awesome, man. I know. I just texted Coach McNally and told him, how much you love him, and that's going to mean so much to him hearing that. And Coach Tatum, Coach Tatum says Coach
yes.
Weakland is a good one. Ian Tatum's a great coach in North Carolina.
He's a good dude too.
Small world,
I was
just because of this podcast. I've been able to meet all y'all.
It's 2 degrees from separation with everybody.
Yes, sir.
It is a very small world. And Coach Tatum, I was going to speak with him last spring, and unfortunately, my father-in-law passed away with ALS this spring. So
I remember
the funeral
that.
was
I remember
week,
that.
so I had to
I'm
back
sorry.
out of it. But yeah, no, it's all right. It's a
ALS is bad.
It's
man.
a bad good thing. Meaning,
yeah,
he was very strong.
He's in a better place.
It is. It's a bad deal, and he's in a better place. So,
amen.
He's in a better place. So, So again, we go here. We go covered, uncovered. So the combo works here. The combo works there. My frontside guy's by himself. So, you can go through and see kind of how this plays out. I'm gonna click through here and start to show some different things. So now we got a guy that's head up. Okay, so we're gonna go inside zone to the left. I'm covered, uncovered. I'm going to go with. Now, my linebacker's more over the top of me than he is front side. So I got leverage issues, meaning if I chase this down in here, I give up leverage on this guy. I love it when he's front side. I don't like it when he's backside. So when I'm uncovered, I get one step. I take my step and I stare at that hip. If it comes to me, I continue. I bring my second step. I block center cylinder. I play long. McNallyism. I play long with my backside hand. Okay. If I take my step and it disappears, my second step has got to go vertical. I got to turn my head and I got to find that guy. Okay. So we're going to look at a few things here. First thing we do is look at this front side combo. Okay. So we get some movement. Now this guy was a sophomore. If you look at this year's film, I'll show that he's better. We're going to ignore this guy. Formations, bubbles take care of that. So when my front side tackle's got a tight guy like that, first of all, he borrows too much. Okay. He borrows too much. He lets the guy go inside of him, and then he works to the wrong guy, okay? So this combo is supposed to work here. It's very similar. If you look at it, it's the same as this combo, okay? So let's look at that combo, okay? So let's watch my right guard. The wider the guy, the deeper the drop. The tighter he is to me, the less I'm going to borrow. So this is the phrases that we use. I'm going to borrow more, meaning I'm going to take a bigger step. I'm going to take a wider aiming point. I'm going to borrow more, or I'm going to borrow less. When the closer he gets to me, the less I borrow. So I'll say to guys, what happened? Coach, I need to borrow less. Coach, I need to borrow more. And you'll see me in film. When I'm on the side, I'll start tapping my face like this. This talks about aiming point. And so I can non-verbally coach these guys in a no-huddle quick situation by just talking about some things that we need to do. I'll step. I talk about kettlebell. So if you see me swinging my hands like this, that means chin and belt buckle down the target line, okay? So when we get in here, when a guy is head up on me, I used to be a guy that would just pick it up, put it down, step vertical, and block him right down the center. But we had issues when a linebacker wanted to do this, okay? So through the years, what I've done is I have my guy peek it just a little bit, just enough to pull the head, just to peek it. And the reason why is I've got help. I've got an uncovered guy that's going to help me. So I take a little bit of a peek. You'll see this guard right there. See it? He borrows just a little bit. Look at the difference between him and the tackle. They should be doing the same technique, right? See how much the tackle borrows with his first step? And look at his aiming points off. Look at how much this guy borrows and look at his aiming point. Center of cylinder. My right guard is right down the center of that cylinder and is doing exactly what he's supposed to. Now, the combo can work and push. If this linebacker steps up, this tackle's going to come off. If he crosses over the face, the guard's going to come off. So the guard can see it a little bit. The tackle's going to call it. Hey, me, you, right there. See it? So we go lateral, vertical. Well, we peek it. I just say lateral, vertical, but we peek it. We're pushing. My tackle comes in to help. Okay. He's coming in to help. Linebacker comes off the top. He punches and passes. My backside tackle takes over on his angle of departure. And look at that. Both guys are blocked, right? That's exactly how we want to do it. Okay. It's exactly how we want to do it. The play gets messed up because we screw up front here. My guy takes too much. He borrows too much. His aiming point's off. And now my guard's like, okay, who am I supposed to block here? Do I take him? Do I take him? This guy gave him no help. And I'll show you when we punch and pass later what that help looks like. Okay. Here's the rocking technique we're talking about. I got zone right. Okay. Covered, uncovered, go with, covered, uncovered, go with, okay, covered right there. Okay. So my guard knows, well, I don't have a guy that's plussed, meaning my linebacker is not way in front of me. He's head up. Okay. So I want to get my leverage back. I don't want to take off. So I'm going to take my first step. He peeks the hip because he's supposed to go with. He peeks the hip. The hip goes away. He takes his second step and slams it lateral right across his down his body line, right? Sideways. He takes it lateral. And now notice how he ducks underneath of himself here. I want that foot here. And you'll see, I'll show you a good one. Some guys go through. Okay. But he's going to help this tackle. Bang. And now he's got leverage because he's here. He's allowed this linebacker to trigger and bam, he can come off. So we cover. Okay. But you notice we're covered. We're covered up. We're covered up. Our back's got a nice three-way go with it if he chooses to, based upon our movement. Okay. Okay. Again, center rocking back. Why we don't want to do it with leverage. Okay. So now we're going zone left. Okay. So let's go tight ends here. So covered, uncovered, go with. Okay. First combo works to 1. So my center has all this leverage on this linebacker. If he tries to rock back into here, it causes him some issues. So watch what happens. He rocks. He gets there, but not if he went with. If he went with and helped kind of close that door, it helps him. Okay. So we're only going to rock when our linebacker is behind us. If he's in front of us, we don't want to rock because we want this guy to move. We want this line of scrimmage to all these defenders to move this way so that our back can hit it vertical like we saw earlier in that picture. Okay. All right. So here, let's talk about 3-3 stack. Okay. So I've got this cut up by a couple different defenses. Now when we go 3-3 stack or 3 down, 3 backers, we're going to work this a little more vertical. Okay. So aiming point doesn't change here. Okay. We're center of cylinder, angle of departures here. We're uncovered. We're going to go with. Our linebacker's going to be a little bit more on top of us at times. Okay. So first combo works here. Second combo works there. My backside guy is going to sift through this end. This end wants to cross his face and get in the B gap because remember my backside tackle has backside B. He'll take him. If this guy comes up field, he'll work and pick up the number 3 backer or the full player. Okay. He'll rock into this. So this guy can't squeeze it. Okay. So let's watch the front side combo. He turns him. See that there with his legs? And he's bent versus just staying big and bringing his feet. Let's watch the guard. Foot fire, right? There's another Coach McNally, and everyone says it, but you hear Coach McNally.
Yeah, when Coach McNally started it, foot fire. Some pretty funny stuff. Foot fire. Okay. So guard checks it. What's the hip do? Hip goes away. Foot fire climb. Bam, he fits. Okay. I'll brag a little bit. That's my boy. He's a senior. Undersized, but I'm 6'5". Mom is 4'10". Wow. My son is 5'10". I didn't do him any justice by being short. Yeah.
But the old line coach sleeps with his mom. Anyway, okay, so here, center takes a step, right? He peeks it. What's that? What's that?
I said that means he gets to play.
Yeah. I said it to him one time. He goes, knock it off. Don't you ever say that in a meeting, he said.
No doubt.
The center takes a step, right? The guy goes back a little bit. Yeah, guy goes back a little bit, so he fits. Right now, the problem is he puts in 2 hands right there. See him kind of turn and then try to come back. Just keep the shoulders on the same angle. Don't turn back into it. and just keep working, and it all works out. And if he does that, right, tackle fits, we're reading the backside end, the back can go two ways off of it, okay? All right. Okay, here. So now we have a tight end in. Tight end's going to arc, nothing changes. Combo, sift through. Okay, there. Okay, now the center's figured it out. I already talked to him. This is the next rep. Hey, if that guy goes backside on you, you need to work your shoulder and keep working your angle of departure in the direction that we're moving before. Don't change your rail. So here you see him stay more on his rail, and it fits perfect. See how it parts like the Red Sea? Tailback's gone vertical, which is great. Okay, it's just two-man combo. Just work on our two-man combo drills. Combo, same thing. Watch front side guard. Checks it, climbs. Okay. All right. So now I got a 4-1. This is our defense. This is the it's not a fall in, but in runs they'll clog the A and B gaps, and then these guys fit on the C's. But here's our 4-1. This is what our defense runs. It could be a pain in the butt sometimes for inside zone. Okay. But pre-snap, we arc. He's covered. We treat a head up like a play side shade, so he is covered. Uncovered, go with. Covered, uncovered, go with. They work to the number 2 combo. First combo works to number 1. Now, you notice there's only one backer in the box. Okay, so we'll put the tight end here. We'll work to the number 1, and I've got both guys working to number 1. Again, the question was asked earlier, what do we do if defenses move? I have an O-line prayer, okay, that I learned this from a coach that I worked with, Coach Barella, who's O-line coach, Coach Mike Barella, okay? I think he's at Valdosta, okay? So O-line prayer, play side gap, play side backer, backside backer, safety. And we're going to do all of that while working our rail. If the play side gap goes away, we'll work the play side backer. If he's gone or goes away, we turn our head, find our backside backer. If he's picked up by somebody else, we go to safety. I had a player one time ask, Coach, what happens if all 4 of those guys are blocked? Go get in the end zone down here. Celebrate. Okay? That means we've done everything right. Okay? So This is a taller, longer tackle from the year before. He plays with a great wide base. I'm a big believer. This kid's 6'5", 6'6", tall torso, short legs. Okay, short legs, which means low center of gravity. He can play with wide base. Now you see he kind of gets hit here a little bit. The kid he's going up against, pretty good. He gets better as the season goes on. But this is the first inside zone of the season. Okay, so covered. Uncovered, go with. So they work, they climb. Backside guard. He's not so technique orientated at times, but the kid gives great effort. Okay, gives great effort. He covers people up. He's only about 175 pounds. The kid he's going against is about 230. Okay, he wins that battle because he gets his hands inside. He's trying to play long. See right there, his hands are inside. He's protecting his chest. He's running his feet. He's trying to play long. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go zone left, same tackle here, 4-1. Okay. We're going to ignore this. We handle this with formations and quick game, bubbles, gifts. Okay. So covered, uncovered, go with, uncovered, go with, covered, even though he's a shade on the center, he's an A-gap player. So he's the guards. Okay. And then uncovered back here, go with. We got one back in the box, which means we usually end up working here to there. We will never push it front side. We use gifts to take care of that. Okay, so watch my backside tackle. He takes a step. The uncovered guy he's working with is almost 2 gaps over. He takes a peek. He rocks kind of back into the end to hold. And then at some point, you can see him try to come off and pick up that full player as he sifts through there. Okay, he doesn't quite get there. If he did, it's a home run. But again, tailback, we should have somebody. We're not reading it here. This is a mess up. We should have a tight end back here, or we should be swiping this, or the back should be on over here instead of pistol. We probably should have been sidecar instead of pistol. But you can see A gaps right here. Back opens up, cuts back, gets vertical. And it's a good gain. Okay. 4-1 again. Watch our center. We're going to go zone left. He's uncovered. We got covered. Uncovered, go with. His backer now is backside. He now has permission to rock this to help his backside guard, and they're going to try to push this and work this vertical to help that backside backer. Okay. You can see him try to get in there. His pad level is just a little too tall. Okay. And he doesn't quite get his feet down. His feet come together. We'll show you good rocks and bad rocks. This is a bad rock, but he's trying to do the right thing. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now we're going to our right. Okay. Covered. Uncovered combo 1. Uncovered combo 2. Okay. The guy's front side with him. He shouldn't really be rocking it, but he rocks it and then ends up trying to work to it. You can see where that could get him in trouble if that backer decides to shoot there. Okay. If the linebacker's behind us, we can rock. If he's front side, we will not rock it. Okay. Which just means we're getting back into help with leverage. Okay. 4-1. Let's fast forward this a little bit. Okay. Here's a rock. Okay. We're going zone left. Now I got combo, covered, uncovered, go with. Where's your linebacker? He's centered up. He's behind me. I'm going to step. I'm going to peek the hip. Hip disappears. I'm going to rock back into this and push and try to wall this off. Ball's probably going to end up going there. Okay. So he steps, he rocks back. There it is. You can see our tailback's got that two-way go. Okay. Two-way go off of it. So he just takes a step. He looks. Hip goes away. You see him look back. He tries to rock, but the guy doesn't really come into him. So he just goes vertical, covers up his linebacker, and he goes. Okay. Okay. This is for all. I do get the questions of, you got this overhang all the time and you're in your inside drill. This is me saying, Coach, can we just get a receiver over here for gifts to get this guy out of here? Just throw it every once in a while. So this is our way of just saying, hey, I know it's inside, but you guys are never going to fold in there like that. You have to have presence over the number 2 receiver. So we started putting these guys in our inside drill just to kind of to take care of that. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to go over here to some game film, and I'm going to click right here for our zone.
We got a question from PJ, Coach. PJ
Absolutely.
said, notice some linemen in 2-point stances. What is the advantage over a 3-point stance? In a 3-point stance, you're firing off low. So would it be easy to stay low? Thanks.
That's a great question. So if you watch my 2023 film, the only person that's down on a 3-point stance is our center because he's got to snap the ball. Our guards and tackles are up. A couple years ago, I had a guard in 2016 start staying in a 2-point stance. Our head coach OC said, why are you in a 2-point stance? And he said, well, coach said I could do it. We never had that conversation. And so my OC comes over to me and says, hey, do you notice your guard's in a 2-point stance? I says, why is he doing that? He said you could do it. I said, well, let's watch him. And I went back and evaluated when he was down versus when he was up. And he was more successful when he was up. He could see. When he took his step, he was in a better loaded position. Knees inside the ankles. Toes out. Good duck walk demeanor. He's kind of talked like the old days. Good body position. Versus when they're down in a 3-point stance, they've got to kind of rock up or lift their head up. And so I love kind of playing with things, and I fell into it, meaning a couple years ago, what's the first thing an O-line coach does on the very first day of practice? What's the first thing they start working on?
Stance.
Oh, and it takes what, half hour? So you give up a half hour of individual time or camp time, if you're doing it in the fall camp, talking about this stance. And it's the death of me. I feel like I'm watching water boil. It's a waste of time for me. So what I started doing was I found better results that when I taught drills, I put them in a 2-point because they naturally got their body in a lower position, better position, knees inside the ankles, flat back, butt down, head up, big chest, rotating their arms when they moved. Then if I taught them a stance for a half hour, if I just put them in a drill, or like when I take my younger guys and we do drills, I don't coach them up. I said, just get in the line, get in the back, watch the guys, listen to me talk, and imitate.
Yes.
So I learned really quickly that guys moved faster when they were up. They learned quicker. They got in a better body position that I wanted when they were up. And so my guys the last couple of years have been begging me, Coach, when are you going to let us go all 2-point? And I said, here's what we're going to do. This was this fall. I said, you can be in a 2-point until our OC says something or until we have issues with it. And we stayed up the entire season. Coach Flood, Kyle Flood, who's the O-line coach for Texas, when he was in a D1 AA school, Delaware, way back in the day in 2003, I think they won the national title, D1 AA title.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco, exactly.
Casey Keeler.
Yes. They stayed in a 2-point stance. And so I just found that my guys move better. They see better. They communicate. When we're no huddle and we go no-go and call plays, they can turn and look without putting their hand up or down or getting in trouble. When we go unbalanced tackle, I don't have to worry about a hand down, hand up. They can see better pass pro-wise, and they feel like they can get in a better position. So we've just kind of ran with it. And I don't know if I'll ever go back. Here's this angle of departure, center of cylinder. I'm just going to show some video. This is against Heelan. They were state runner-up this year. So this is a couple years, 2 years ago's film. But you watch my right guard. His angle of departure is good. He gets his hands inside. He's trying to play long with that backside hand. He covers the guy up. If he would just play long with it, I think he would tip it and spill it. But center of cylinder, his departure is good. He's going right down the center of the defender. And he's going to let that defender's momentum kind of dictate where he goes. You know, we're not wrestling and moving people. We're taking the angle of departure and letting those guys declare, and then we're going to move them in the direction of which they're going. Okay. So again, here you watch the right tackle. He takes a step. He gets a little too much front side, but he gets those hands in there, and he's running his feet, and he's trying to dump him. My coaching point to him is just play long, man. Take that left arm, extend it, play long, and you'll dump that guy. You'll tip him. You'll spill him. You'll get your cake. We're going zone right. We're watching the right guard here. Center of cylinder, angle of departure. He takes a step. Now you'll notice he double taps, right? Tap, tap. Okay. Once he takes his first step, and this was his first game, that second step needs to move down its rail. If he would do that, he would move that defender on that angle, which is what we want. Okay. He ends up getting a good block and finishing, but the coaching point for me is watch his foot. Tap, tap, right? Just take the 1 step, 2 step and go. If you watch his tackle, he does the same thing. Now he expands when he shouldn't. Okay. But the footwork, step, step. Okay. All right. Center cylinder again, backside tackle, front side tackle. Okay. Takes his step, sets his angle of departure, his center of cylinder. He gets the long, look at him play long, right there. See it? Torques it, as Coach McNally would say, torques it, plays long, throws the hip, okay, puts the hip in, pulls it right back out, and you can see him trying to fight for center. Repositions his hand, tries to get back on the chest, does a good job, okay? Okay, center of cylinder, second level. Watch our center, okay? Center goes with, he's uncovered. He's got a first combo, right? Covered, covered, uncovered, go with. First combo works to 1, play side, inside linebacker. I repeat that as many times in film with my guys as I can until they can quote it back to me verbatim, okay? And these are my 2s. These are my second string guys. So just to show you that my first string guys can do it, here's my second string guys, right? So my right guard takes a good angle, gets a little tall, gets driven back, but he at least covers him up. My center sees the hip goes away. He climbs, covers up the linebacker. So there's my 2s going against the number 1s. We ended up winning this game. The number 1s were still in. We put the 2s in. I always keep them with the starting quarterback and the starting tailback for a series until we switch. I'm sorry. Starting O-line stays with the backup quarterback, and then second series I put these guys in. So you can see, I mean, skill development's still there. Okay, here we go. Okay, center cylinder again is what we just call it, which is just aiming point, footwork, Okay, so it takes his step, second step, just play long. If he would play long, the guy couldn't fall back in. Right there, he's golden. Play long with the left arm, run your feet. He does not. This is the second or third game of the year. So the guy's able to try to fold back in, but he covers him up, ends up pancaking him, bringing his feet. Okay. All right. Here's a rock back. Here's our center. Okay. We're going zone left. Okay. We see the movement. So we go here. He's uncovered. He's supposed to go with. He shouldn't be rocking back. He should just be going. See how his linebacker is able to kind of play in front of him right here? You can see why I use practice film. It's a little bit better for the eyes when you're better angles. We use a drone to film. Okay, but my backside guard, he's covered. Takes his angle departure, runs his feet, does a good job. This team was a playoff team that we were playing. Okay, same thing here, center of cylinder. Takes a step. Notice he's not double tapping now. He's bringing a second step. If he play long, the guy couldn't spin. Okay, if he plays long, the guy can't spin. Center, sees the hip go away, puts his hand out, climbs. Okay, touchdown. All right, so that's inside zone. I could keep going.
Yeah, Coach, let's do the gap
counter?
scheme too. Yeah, let's do the gap scheme counters.
Perfect. And I'll go as long as you let me. I could talk for
Coach,
days.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Our counter is very similar to our inside zone. So we're going counter left here. My front three, or really my front two, because my center is always going to block back unless there's nobody between him and the tackle. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. But our front side of our counter is like zone the opposite way. We're going to take that directional step to open our hip to set our angle of departure for our down blocks. And I'll show some film if we have enough time, if you'll let me, with just
you're going to do it. Coach, you're going to go. I mean, I next guy I got on was 8:15, so you just go, Coach. Don't even worry about the time.
Perfect. Okay. So here's our counter. So we're down to threat, back block with the center. We kick with the guard. We skip pull for the tackle. Okay. And so we are always going to pull two for the C-gap player and the play side inside linebacker. Okay. Unless defenses move. We are taking the front side tackle and the front side guard. If we had a tight end, we'd arc him unless there's a outside shade, then we send him down. But we don't use a ton of tight ends. We'll use them, but we don't use a ton of them. So these two are down. He is down on the A gap to the number 2 defender, what we call down to threat. Okay, you're down to threat to 2. The tackle's taught the same thing. He's down to threat to 2. Well, somewhere in here, somebody's got to have an A or a B gap player, if that makes sense. So pre-snap, my guard has an A gap player. So he is down. In case something moves, he's down to 2. Tackle is down to 2, down to threat to 2. My center blocks back. Okay, he blocks back. And then my backside guard kicks, and my backside tackle skip pulls for play side inside number 1. Okay, those are our rules. In the old days, I didn't like counter when I had a B-gap player, because in the old days, we would double trap pull this thing, and this guy would get in the hip and could run with and would get right in front of our tackle. When the skip pull came in, it changed the game a little bit. I skip pull. I teach our guys to skip pull for depth, not width. Okay, and so I'm constantly preaching that. A drill is I will stand here a little bit behind my skip pullers, and that makes them get depth and go around versus going sideways. If they skip pull with width, they're going to run into and be right on the ass of the puller. Okay, and so I want them to skip pull for depth, and I'll actually show you something cool where my guy invented a double skip pull. I just watched film one day and he was doing it. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, Coach, it just helps me get more depth and I can actually move faster. Okay. So we're going to start with the front side. We'll always start with play side. My tackle is down to threat to 2. Okay. So the first thing I ask him is there anything in your B gap? The answer is no. Pre-snap, no. You're going to take your step to set your angle of departure, and you're going to work to the near ear hole of the number 2 linebacker. Okay. So watch his step. There's his, it looks just like his own step to the right, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it also teaches this guy thinks, oh shoot, it's inside zone this way, and then here comes counter. So it all kind of works out. But again, why do we take our first step, our directional step, our bucket step in the old days? It's to allow this defense to declare. If a guy wants to shoot, he'll pick him up. If a guy wants to move, he'll pick him up. If a guy wants to cross face, he will pick up whoever shows up in the B gap. If nobody shows up in the B gap, he will power walk. I have a coaching friend of mine that we go round and round. Coach, you got to sprint. We power walk. We'll power walk in here because when we sprint and we get long strided, this guy gets over the top and we can't redirect. We're not good enough to do that. So we just keep working. And if this guy's going to let us do this to him, bam, we're going to do that. You can see there's a crease in there right there.
He's got to come to you.
Absolutely. We're going to keep walking to him. We're going to close the door until he decides that he's going to come over the top. And I'll show some film on that as well. Okay. So my guard, same thing. Directional step, down to threat. He's going to set his angle of departure depending on pre-snap where this guy was. Center of cylinder. The only difference with the down block is I always tell my guys just borrow. There's that phrase from Inside Zone. Borrow a little less. Okay. Be a little bit less. That way, in case the guy wants to try to move or do some things, you're protected. It doesn't matter if he comes up field because we're golden, okay? So I just tell those guys, just borrow just a smidge less. What that means is in inside zone, this was zone right or center of cylinder, okay? In down blocks or down to threat, we're going to aim for the near ear hole, collarbone, somewhere in there, and we're going to try to take our backside arm, stick it in that front side pit of the down defender and play long and run it like it's inside zone right. Okay. We're just going to protect ourselves from the over the top. So let's watch his footwork. Takes a step and he hops a little bit. Again, this is the first counter of the year. Okay. Against this 4-2 defense. So he steps, he kind of hops, but you notice he's really good at playing long. Bam. See it? As soon as he plays long, boom, right there. He moves the guy, ends up taking him lateral. Now, if he didn't hop and he just took his footwork, he could probably move that guy in the angle that he wanted to, okay? Watch my center. He's going to block back, but it's the same technique as the front side too. He's going to set his angle of departure, center of cylinder. He's going to near collarbone, ear hole. He's going to make sure that guy can't come over the top. It's not a kick butt. We're not trying to crush the guy. We just want to block him. We want to get in his way so that he can't get over the top and so that we can get ourselves a nice kick by our guard, and then a nice skip pull with our tackle. And then you can see the lane right there, okay? We got a nice little lane for our tailback, okay? So we're going to go on here. Now we got counter right, okay? Counter right with a backside tight. By the way, let me go backtrack. We read counter. If there's no tight end, this back action mesh is the same as if it's inside zone left. Gets the ball, he turns, he's staring right at it. DN wants to stand there. He's just going to hand it off, okay? Now, here we put a tight end backside, so now we can put the back on either side. Is it zone left, and we're reading this guy? Is it cut off counter right? Could be either. So we cut it off with the backside tight end, okay? Now let's go front side. Down to is there anybody in your B gap tackle? The answer is yes. So you're down to threat. Guard, you are down to threat. Is there anybody in your A gap? No. Do you see a hip of the backside A gap guy? Yes. You're down to threat to 2, being aware that there's a guy on your center a little bit. You can do some things to kind of help him make sure that guy stays there by either putting an arm or punching and knocking that guy over. Okay. But the front side 2, tackle, guard, down to threat to 2, down to threat to 2. Okay. I do a little bit of a, sometimes they follow it, sometimes they don't. But if you have an open gap, I like them to get just a little bit wider. It gives them more leverage on the linebacker, and it also helps them when a D lineman tries to squeeze them down to protect that backer from him coming down on him. So that's where our rock technique, just like inside zone is. We'll step, and then we can rock back into this guy. I'll show you some film on that. There's some clips in here that will protect him from getting squeezed down so that linebacker comes scot-free. Okay, so again, playing long, takes a step, fine. This guy was a good player for us at DN this year. You watch my – now, we do something called 90 out, and I made up the name. I stole it from LSU watching cut-ups back in like 1997. Their linemen would come down, and when a linebacker tried to come over the top, they would just start pass setting or kicking out to keep the leverage to pick that guy up. So I saw that and thought, I'm going to start teaching my guys that. Okay. So we come in, and you can see as our guy comes down, we're not in a hurry. And if this backer wants to shoot over the top, we'll just start kicking this thing, or what I call 90ing out, just to pick him up. So see how he gets a little bit of width with it? Comes in, just picks him up right there. Still creates a wall. We still have our kick by our guard and our pulling tackle, and our tailback is scot-free. Okay, it's a great 1-2 punch play for us, inside zone and counter read. Okay, all right, here we go. We're going to shift now. Doesn't matter where they line up because we have rules. Down to threat to 2, down to threat to 2. If a guy crosses our face, we'll collect him. If our kicker comes out here and he doesn't see anything step across the line, he immediately gets his eyes inside, which if this guy crosses face, that means he's going to end up picking up one of these two guys. Okay. So if our guard pulls, the minute he opens and he sees nothing as he comes down the line, he's going to wrap that. Now here, he sees that it's tight. We're going to log that thing. And now our skip pulling tackle is just going to go around it. Coach, have you ever seen anybody double skip pull?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a karaoke to me, right? I mean, is that what it amounts to?
Yeah. So watch him. It's exactly what it amounts to. He goes 1, 2. Now here it's a little, he goes under and he goes over, and then you'll see him later where he actually does it double. And I go, what are you doing? And he's like, Coach, I know I play better. Sometimes we can learn from our guys.
Oh yeah.
Coach, I play better when my shoulders are square. So he's karaokeing, right? So this is the first time you'll see it. He crosses over karaoke, but he keeps his shoulders square. But look at the lane. We build the wall, kind of take a Steve Ryanism from Morningside College. We're going to build a wall with our down blocks, down. Okay, there's the wall built. There's our log. There's our kick, and there's our tailback. Okay. So here we shift again. Now, as I'm talking to him, I go, what'd you just do there? He's like, so now he's going to double. I said, just double skip pull it. Don't karaoke back over. Just skip pull. Look at how square he is. And here's another thing that he said. It allows me a little separation. I get my depth that you wanted, Coach. My shoulders stay square, and it gives me a little bit of separation and time to see what's going on with my guard, whether he's going to kick it or he's going to log it. And this kid came up with that. Maybe there's other coaches out there that are doing it. I just haven't paid attention to it. I don't coach this. I do now. But he came up with this. So, again, front side, down to threat. Okay, we got the A-gap player. My guard's going to come down, fit, play long. You can see him reposition his hand, right? His base needs to be better. That's something he can work on. You can see him kind of double tap that outside foot. Just step, keep your base and go. Watch his aiming point. He borrows too much. I don't want his head fitting here. I want it fitting right here. So when I'd say to him, hey, what do you need to do? Coach, my aiming point, I need to borrow a little less. Absolutely. Okay. Watch the tackle. Tackle's going to come down to 2, right? And he kind of gets caught up with 1, kind of stepping up, but he trusts it, lets it go, and then fits with the linebacker. There's my kick. There's my skip pull. There's my wall. There's my tailback. Okay. So it's a great play for us. Okay. Front side tackle now. Let's watch him on the 90 outs. We're going to jump to the other side. Probably tells me we're going to cut this backside off. We're going to run counter to the right. So when we do this and we don't read it, we can put him here, have him shift, and then follow, talking the tailback, can follow the pullers. Okay, so watch my right tackle. Plenty of time. 90's out, just a little right there. Fits himself. There's the wall. There's the kick out. Okay, we got good blocks going on. Okay, 90 out. Now, watch him not trust it. This is my guard. He takes a step. First of all, pre-snap, I would say to him in film, hey, widen yourself out a little bit, man. You got an open gap. Widen out a little bit. Doesn't have to be huge. Just another 6 inches to give yourself leverage on this guy. The wider you are, the more you can see without giving it away. Okay? And then when you take your first step, if you don't see something come here, if you don't feel this guy cross your face, if no one shoots the gap, I want you to take your second step and rock this guy. And I'll show you a couple clips of that. But rock that guy and then just work your way down. And if he wants to come over the top, 90 out and pick him up. This kid's a good athlete. He's got good feet. He's so worried about the over the top that he jumps over the top and the kid undercuts him. This linebacker just gives him fits. This kid's over the top. He's underneath. Trust. You can see. Look at his body language. Let's go back to this. Look at his body language. Post play. Look at him. Heads down. Right. Frustrated. So we're gonna come back again. Hey, this me over here giving signals with the belly. Trust it, man. Work your angle. 90 out if you need to. See the difference? You're not gonna undercut me. And if you want to go over the top, I'll just kick it. Right there. There's my wall. Look at that. Could park an elephant in there. Okay. It's a good play. Okay. Now, this is a really good play. We get some questions. What are you teaching your tight end backside? Okay. It's just like zone for him. He needs to take, it's like it's zone left. Open, rip, bring your feet, bring your backside arm. Okay. Just zone him left. Okay.
Hey, Coach,
tries to instead kind of turn him.
PJ's got a comment. He said,
yes.
Hand placement is very consistent with your line. What drills do you teach for hand placement?
Okay. So when we're done with this and when you're ready, I'm going to show you some down block stuff. What I do for hand placement, I'm going to talk about you're talking front side down blocks, right?
Yeah, I think he's talking about anytime you're blocking a guy.
Okay. So whenever we're blocking, our base rules are we're always going to protect our chest. Okay. I got tight hands. I used to teach just tight elbows. I'm going to steal from Dan Kelly, who was the O-line coach at Morningside College. And then he was at Simpson for a while. He's now at a big 5A high school down in Des Moines. He says, squeeze the ribs. First time he said that, I went, man, I'm stealing that. That is everything I need to teach without saying 5 different things. Squeeze the ribs. So tight hands, squeeze the ribs, squeeze the elbows, squeeze the ribs, protect your chest. Okay. And we're always going to try to get our hands on the breastplate or on our defender. And our hand is always our backside hand. So if I'm zoning left, I'm always going to get this hand, and this arm should always be kind of down the center of me. So I'm going to grab that backside pit. I'm going to play long. If I'm down blocking to my left, I'm going to take my aiming point of the near collarbone ear hole. I'm going to take the backside hand. I'm going to put it in the front side pit. I'll show you some film on that here in a minute. And I'm going to play long. I'm going to lift. I'm going to run my feet. My hand should be right down the center of my nose and my chin and my sternum. It shouldn't be out here. It's not outside the frame of my body. If I'm doing this right and I squeeze the ribs or squeeze that elbow and get that hand in here, I can move and play and press anybody with that hand position. So to go full circle, I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to go back to the one-man sled. This is a daily drill for us. We get in here, tight hands. You can see that sled is worn before he gets on it here. See right here where there's an actual notch worn out here. Mm-hmm. And there's a notch worn out here. This used to have a red cover, right? But watch his elbows. See, tight. And I wish that thing was even smaller, right? But we're always trying to get our hands inside and play long. Okay, hands inside and play long. So we do the one-man sled. I can get you some video on my cell phone later, Coach. We start down on the ground, and we'll
Coach,
fire our hands. We'll punch.
I'm gonna put your Twitter. I'm gonna put your Twitter in the comments, Coach.
Okay.
So
absolutely, absolutely. If anybody has any questions, I can
stream. I got his Twitter in the stream, y'all. So y'all can contact Coach through his Twitter.
I love to talk football. So if you look at my Twitter, I'm always national championship games. Huh?
I put if you look. Oh, you can't see it, Coach, but it's Hog Whisperer, right? Yeah. TJ's gonna get it.
Okay, it's funny because that name was given to me by a coach. You're kind of the Hog Whisperer, like your ability to talk to the O-lineman. And then I had somebody get naughty with that same phrase, Hog Whisperer. I'm like, no, it's spelled different. Don't even go there.
Hey, Coach, when I see it, I know what it means.
my license plate on my motorcycle says Hogs, H-A-W-G-S. I love it. So let's have you had enough of the counter? Do you want to watch some game film, or do you want to go right to the down blocks?
Well, it's 7:30 right now, and I got my other guys coming on at 8:15. So let's just go to the down blocks, Coach, because I mean, your practice film is your game film.
It is. It really is. You're going to see the same.
It's all the same, man.
It is. So this is at Morningside. Okay. Let me turn off the audio of that. Okay. This is at Morningside, and I'm coaching the tight ends here. Okay. And this film is in order of fall camp. This is the first pin and pull, same technique, pin and pull, down block, counter. But I just want you to, I'm going to fast forward and see better issues of his feet. Okay. So he's right here. Okay. This kid is 225 pounds, Riley Rishling. He was first team all conference. I think he only had like 7 catches, 1 touchdown, but he was all conference because he could block the world. Okay. And so this is a guy who's played at UNI, was a transfer, was a really good player. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our angle of departure step. Okay. We're going to set that angle of departure with the foot. We're going to take the second step, and we're going to go down our line. Okay. Go down our rail. Okay. Now he gets toes. I don't like the toes tapping. Okay. And we'll show how he gets better. But we're going to fit that near collarbone, near ear hole, near eye of the defender. We're going to fit. You notice the hands try to come inside, and then we want to play long. Okay. Notice the D lineman's trying to play long with us, but our hands are inside, so we're winning that battle. We at least stalemated so we could get outside of that. Okay. So I'll just show you a couple clips in here. This is just going through fall camp. This is 2-a-days. Okay. There's Coach Kelly right there that I talked about earlier. Okay. So again, we're blocking down. This could be a front side tackle. This could be a front side guard. I teach the same technique. I coach this kid. So it's the same technique. Okay. So now take his angle departure step. There's his fit. He gets his hands inside. Notice that outside foot is toe tapping. What I'm saying is I don't want him on the toes. If you watched my tackle before, I want the toes out. I want the whole foot in the ground. This will get better as the film goes on. But notice now he's starting to get some movement. This kid here, number 30, became an all-conference player from Morningside when they won the 2021, I think, national championship. He's a good player. Okay. So
hey, Coach, how about Michigan?
Okay. So again, here.
Coach, yes. How about Michigan in the overtime? They ran. What was it? Counter or power?
Yes.
I mean, it's just like that, man. Boom. 2 plays, man. They scored.
Yes.
I can't remember if the first one was a zone, but I think both of them were gap scheme. Both the plays Michigan ran.
Yes. And what I love about it is if you're just a down to threat guy, right? This is a little bit of our pin and pull, but it's the same stuff. Okay. If you're down to threat guy, this technique's the same. Frontside tight end, frontside tackle, frontside guard, even the center blocking back. It's the same technique. Whole foot in the ground. See it? Okay. Second foot in the ground. Now there's the toe tap. He tries to twist and turn the guy. Okay. He gets a little bit outside on his aiming point. He gets on top of that shoulder pad. We get the cake, right? But we don't get quite the movement that I want just yet. We're getting better as we're going on. Okay. So here he is right here. Okay. Down to threat. Whole foot now.
That's
Notice
what I'm talking about right there.
Whole foot in the ground. Yes.
That's football right
there. Whole
there,
foot
Coach.
in the ground. Starts to play long. See him trying to lift. It is. It is. And as he's lifting, his hand, talked about hand placement. His hand is not down the center of his body. If you can see my picture, okay, see me. If his hand's outside, right, I want all the mass going right down the chin and the belt buckle, right? If he were to take a kettlebell, inside zone on that first step, if he were to take a kettlebell and swing it between his legs, down his chin and belt buckle, down his target line, all that mass going down that line, we win, right? And this kid he's going against is like 265. He's 225. Boom, right? Trying to play long, getting some movement, right? D lineman's getting frustrated. Okay. So now we get into some games. Here's some game film of it. Okay. Get in here, down to threat. Okay. Here's this rock back. I was working. This is Temmie. He was an All-American. Okay. Trying to rock back, trying to help the tight end a little bit. Okay. Whole foot in the ground, trying to play long. Good movement. Kid spins out of it. I'll show you some spin stuff here in a minute. Okay. Here's another good aiming point. Okay. Down to threat. Okay. Down to threat. Watch his footwork. Foot, whole foot in the ground, trying to play long. Okay. Okay. Down, here's pin and pull, but it's the same technique. If you're a pin and pull team, teaches the same. Footwork. Notice his feet. He starts with whole foot in the ground. Okay. He's in a great position. He's winning. For some reason, he brings his feet together and gets on his toes. When he gets on his toes, he can't move anybody. Okay. All right. So there's enough of that. Let's go to because I know we got to get going here. Let's go to play long now. This was a game changer for me when I heard the play long. Okay. We want to get our fit position. We want to play long. Here he is right here. Okay. We're running power right, gap scheme right. Whole foot in the ground right there. See it? Gets on that shoulder, plays long. Okay. The sooner he can do that, the sooner he can raise that kid up. Gets his cake. Okay. Right here on the left, down to threat. Okay. Angle of departure, center of cylinder, borrow a little bit less in the down block game. So it's near collarbone, ear hole, somewhere between the ear hole, eye hole, right? We're going to play long with that front side hand. See it? Play long, get some movement. The D lineman's trying to play long with us. He's getting tired of us doing that to him. Okay. Now we're going to trade him a little bit. Okay, so he's over here on the left. We're going to go down to our right. Takes his angle of departure. First step. Look at this. Oh, this is great. Second step. Fits. See him play long? Now he gets the hand on top of the shoulder pad, so he misses. So he's not able to get what he wants out of it. If he gets it in the pit and plays long with the pit, he'll be just fine. I show my guys this video every spring. I got some game film of us doing the same thing. So, but like I said, I coach this guy. I didn't get this from somebody else. This is my stuff. So again, down to threat. Okay. Down to threat. We're running power right. Okay. Angle of departure, fits the face, gets the hand in there. Look at that. See him play long? Mm-hmm. Now the defensive guy gets his hand inside ours. So we're not protecting our chest, but look at that. We're playing long. Right. And look at this. Again, this guy was an all conference guy for Morningside as well. Look at the frustration on the D lineman. It's like, man, they'd come over, Coach, what are you teaching these guys? It's like, how do I combat that? I'm like, come over, play tight end for me. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Right. Here we go again. Angle of departure. Boom. Play long. See it? As soon as when he gets it sooner, pancake. Bam. Just drops the guy. Buried him down in there. Okay. All conference kid. Okay. So we'll watch a couple more of these and I'm going to show you what do you do in a twist. Okay. So right here, guys are starting to play us long back. Okay. How do we combat that? Well, we got to get our hands inside. If we get our hands inside, we win. Now, teams want to spin on us. Okay. So I got 4 clips of here of spin. Okay. So we're going to go down to it's pin and pull on this play, but it's the same thing. Teach the same thing. Teach anything different. Okay. For the down block. So we take our angle of departure. We play long. As we start to play long, if you can see my face in the film, this is why I go back to when I'm playing long with my hand. If I can keep it down my center line of my face, it's down the center line of the momentum of my body. When my hand starts to cross my face because the guy is spinning outside me, if I'm down blocking left and he's spinning to my right, when my hand starts to cross my face, it's because he's turning. I will pull the hand, and this is a drill that we do. I'll talk about that in a second. We'll pull the hand, and I 90 out, like I talked about on the down blocks to the linebacker with counter. I go step to the direction that the guy goes, and I pick him up. So it's a little bit harder to hear to see on this one, but you'll see another one. He spins. This is earlier in the season. He's starting to figure it out. The guy spins right back into him. He just dumps it. Okay. Here's another clip of it over here. Okay. So he's going to go down. His hand starts to cross his center mass. He realizes the guy's spinning. He pulls it. He 90s out, and he fits, stays fitted with the guy. Okay. And is able to at least block him for the most part. Now, as the season goes on, he gets better. Here he is right here. Goal line, running power to the right. Down to threat. Step. He fits. He plays long. The guy spins. He just takes 2 steps to the right, fits right back up into him, picks him up. Right? Picks him up. Okay? And then same thing here. This is in the playoffs against Saint X. Okay? Tight. The guy's tight. It's a little less. He steps. He throws it. The guy tries to spin after he plays long. He just steps right over, picks him up. Okay. Anyway, what do you think?
Coach, appreciate you, Coach. You just want to let everybody know where they can get a hold of you at the Hog Whisperer. I put it up there. I'm going to put it up there again, Coach. And I'll take this screen down.
Yep.
There you go. All right. Can you see me now, Coach?
Absolutely.
So Hog Whisperer,
I'm on Twitter. Right? I love to talk football. Yes. Yep. At Hog Whisperer. I love to talk football. So when there's games going on and people start saying, hey, what do you see? Or I'll take pictures of the TV screen. We're watching the semi games. You'll see I started throwing some stuff up there. I love talking football. I don't have all the answers, nor do I think I'm always right. So I just love talking because I'll learn and have conversations with people. I love it. So
you love it. You did a great job, Coach. I appreciate it. We'll have you back on, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. So maybe next time we can talk some 5-man empty protection. That seemed to be the big conversation on the semi.
Who was it that kept getting their quarterback whacked? Was it
Alabama?
It was Alabama. Yeah, they knew which side the center was going to, and there wasn't a running back on that side.
Yeah.
They were 3 people to the side. They got 2.
Yeah, they were having some slide issues of what direction they were going, and you'll see some chats in there. And then their left tackle actually is our Southeast Polk. 3 times, three-peat state champion. He's a freshman starting for them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't go to Iowa, went to Bama.
Wow.
So, good
Thank
player.
you, Coach. I appreciate it, brother. I'm going to press in and we'll stay on here for a second and talk. Okay.
Awesome. Okay.